Good morning all. Hope everyone's well this morning. It is Friday the 19th of May. And this is the very early walk. Got two walks today, so got out pretty early for walk number one. And the reason I got out early is because we're walking somewhere new today. We're walking somewhere we haven't walked before. We headed for over towards Lynford. So we're kind of in the Lynford Stag area, which for those of you that don't know, it's kind of sat between Munford and Brandon. It's a little bit of a drive, but not an outrageous one, especially if we're walking the Watton mob, because it's probably only 10 minutes further up the road than High Ash, and probably about the same distance as Great Hockham, maybe a little bit further, but not much. And we're walking alongside, although obviously as you can see it is fenced off, we're walking alongside the railway track that runs out from Norwich towards Thetford, etc, etc. But one of the reasons I was doing that, or one of the reasons I wanted to do that, was because I'd recently read quite an interesting article on the fact that dogs can become territorial about the walks that they go on. And I'd never particularly thought about this. Now, of course, your dog will be, even whether it's particularly noticeable or not, your dog will be territorial. Doesn't matter what dog it is, your dog will be, to one degree or another, territorial. Whether that's about the home or the car or whatever it might be. I mean, a good example of that is Miss Ariel. Ariel is one of mine. Very sweet-natured dog. However, other dogs come into my car and she can be a little bit growly. I mean, she'll make a noise that, you know, if you didn't know Ariel, you would be like, oh wow, you know what I mean, she sounds nasty, when in actual fact she really isn't at all. And that's just her letting other dogs know, my car, my territory, my dad. And I hadn't realised that they could become that way about places that they walk. Because it's such a wide open space, you don't think of it. However, apparently they can. So what I've decided to do is to try and... Just a train coming along here. I've decided to try and extend our repertoire of walks. Because obviously I don't think it's very likely that would happen. But it is possible. And if we can avoid it, I rather would, particularly bearing in mind I walk dogs the size of Max and the size of Muttley, and if they become territorial and then another dog enters their territory, the whole thing could become quite unpleasant quite quickly. So obviously trying to avoid that, and also it's nice for the dogs to have somewhere new to explore. You know what I mean? I mean, if you look at them, I mean, they're always happy as Larry when they walk anyway. You know, they love being outdoors. If they didn't, there wouldn't be much point in taking them. But, as you can see, it's a bit of a rove, it's a bit of an explore, and it's somewhere new. Somewhere new for everyone, including Burbsy Nerb on his lead here. So, yeah. We're kind of out exploring today, somewhere a bit new. So it's good. It's good. Looking forward to seeing what they make of it. So anyway, with us today we have the aforementioned Bob the Knob, better known as BGN or GNB, Gobby Nobby Bobby. We have Miss Willow. We have Miss Ariel, we have Miss Bella, and then last but most certainly not least, we have Muttley and we have Max. So yeah, we were kind of, I'd said I was going to start doing some more doggy intros. We did Ariel the other day. I'll do the second of, well, she's actually the first of my dogs. We got her before Ariel. But I will do the first of my two today. And that is Willow, who is, as you can see, a black and white Springer, and is, as I like to call her, my googly-eyed little freak. Now, there is a reason why Willow is a googly-eyed freak, and that's because she's a little bit blind in one eye and she's a little bit deaf in one ear, and Willow is also a little bit special. And when I say a little bit special, I do actually mean she kind of has doggy special needs. Now, you wouldn't think it here because she's outdoors, and when she's outdoors, she is just the happiest little pooch you could wish to meet. She loves being outside. She always has. She's also always been very, very fit. She runs. She never stops. She never ever stops. But yes. Now, we got Willow, and when we got Willow, Willow was tiny. Willow was absolutely tiny. She was a very, very small dog. Very, very small puppy indeed. Now, I later discovered why that was. We were told when we got Willow that she was 8 weeks old. However, Willow's backstory is as follows. Willow was one of 9 pups who was the runt of the litter. However, the women who owned Willow's mum and dad, I don't think they were really prepared for pups. And they were even less prepared when Willow's mum rejected the entire litter of 9. Willow herself, because she was the runt and very small, wasn't really getting fed before her mum rejected the litter, wasn't doing very well, and she got separated from her brothers and sisters basically because she was really Max, Ariel, she was really struggling. So Willow was being kind of hand-reared. Then Willow's mum went, no, don't want to do this. Now, I've never seen what happens when a bitch rejects her litter. However, I have been informed that it is quite upsetting to our sensibilities because they really do. They just turn their back. She's like, no, not doing it. Bam, shut down. And, obviously when the puppies are very small, that's it. They just die. Obviously, the ladies who owned the mother and father had already separated Willow from the rest because she was having to be hand-fed. However, unfortunately, one of the other pups then got dysentery. When you're dealing with tiny pups, if they get dysentery, you literally have a matter of hours to act before they die. They die of dehydration very, very quickly. And unfortunately, these particular women who had the pups, they didn't really realise what was going on. And Willow's 8 brothers and sisters all died. So Willow is the only survivor of a litter of 9 that was rejected by their mum. I don't think the ladies who owned mum and dad really had a clue what to do with Willow. Once they'd got to a certain point, we had been tapped up to see if we wanted a pup, and we'd said yes. I wasn't thinking of getting Springer Spaniels at all. In fact, I was quite against the idea. However, we got Little Miss Willow. On or around it was the October half term of 2014 that we got her, and she was tiny. She was absolutely tiny. And the saddest thing I remember about Willow coming to us, obviously we were very happy because we had a pup, but the saddest thing I remember is when I went to flip Willow over to tickle her belly, the first time I went to do it, she bit me. And the reason that she bit me, I suspect, is because no one had ever tickled her belly before, which I found to be incredibly sad. A little pup, and no one had tickled her belly, and she was 4 weeks old. I mean, if one of my dogs had pups, all of those puppies would be getting, they'd be getting fully socialised and handled and stuff like that, but not Willow. So yes, when we got her, she was already a bit screwed up. She'd already had a very, very sort of, if she'd been a child, you would have certainly said she'd had a very, very testing early part to her life. And ever since then, she's always been a bit weird. And when she got to about 18 months old, we started noticing some very, very strange behaviour patterns. Not aggressive or reactive or anything like that. Just odd. She wouldn't do certain things. She didn't like to do certain things. If you interfered with her pattern, with her way of doing things, she really, really didn't like it at all. It bothered her enormously. So we finally contacted our vet, who put us in touch with another vet who was a canine behaviourist. And we took her along to this other vet, and the other vet, he asked us a series of questions about her, and he gave us a checklist of things to check off, things that Willow did. And we went and sat down and we had a cup of coffee while we left her with him. And when we went through the checklist, there were like 27, 28 things on the checklist. And when we actually did the check, she had about 24 of them on there, to which I turned around to my wife and said, well, whatever it is, she's got it. And we went back to see this vet, who was a canine behaviourist. And what he basically told us is that even though he couldn't give us an official diagnosis because it hadn't been fully recognised in dogs at that point in time, although I believe research is nudging it closer and closer and closer to being diagnosed in them, basically, Willow's autistic, which kind of flabbered my gast, if I'm being completely honest. We ended up with, which is, if you know me and my wife, that's fairly typical of our luck, we ended up with an autistic dog. And she's wonderful. She's absolutely fab. We love Willow. But, oh my God, sometimes, especially when she was younger, less so now, because she's very much kind of got her routine and her patterns of behaviour, and we've discovered how to work around them, and she's quite happy if you do that. But if you mess with Willow's routine, oh dear God, do you know about it. Oh, what a ball ache. But yes, so that is an intro to Willow's bio, so to speak. She's coming up on 9 now. She's going to be 9 in October. 9 in September. She's going to be 9 in September. And as you can see, she is a happy little wanderer. Willow! Although sometimes she does have to be reined in. But she's very good. She has good recall and all that kind of stuff. But yes, that is Willow. And I will start with other people's dogs, other members of the gang, on Monday, and we can start going through there, so you're aware of who and what everybody is. So yes, that's us for today. There'll be another walk later on, so I'll post that later on as well. My apologies if these are kind of going up a little bit haphazardly. I'm discovering that uploading to YouTube from my phone is a massive pain in the backside. It's just so slow. Even using Wi-Fi, even using home Wi-Fi on my phone, it's unbelievably slow, and the bandwidth it sucks up beggars belief. So my apologies if uploading is a little bit haphazard. I will get on top of it a little bit better. And obviously once I've got myself the gimbal for smoothing out the picture, then obviously the quality of the videos will improve as well, I hope. So yes, and in the meantime, it simply remains to say have a very pleasant weekend, whatever it is you're getting up to. Another train whistling past there. Thanks, Max. And we'll see you on Monday. So yeah, in the meantime, it simply remains to invite you all to mooch on and take care. Have a very, very pleasant weekend. See ya.